Taxation.
Regulations and responsibilities.
Vocabulary.
Compulsory.
Required by law or a rule, not optional. Wearing a uniform is compulsory in many British schools. Antonym: voluntary.
Government. A group of people who rule a country. Income.
Money received, especially on a regular basis, for work or through investments.
Levy. Impose a fee. Personnel. The people who work for a particular organisation.
Part 1.
Payments to the government. Taxation is the system that governments use to collect payments from a person, company or organisation. The payment of taxes is compulsory. This means that a person, company or organisation has to pay tax whether or not they want to.
Part 2.
Why governments levy taxes. Governments levy taxes on their citizens and on companies and organisations so that they will have money to spend. Governments need to have money to spend because they are responsible for important areas of their citizens' lives. Some of these important areas include education, defence, emergency services, transport. Governments need money for education because schools need to be built and teachers have to be paid for the education system to run properly. Governments need money to defend their country too. They have to pay for ships and planes to be built, and they have to pay the military personnel who help to defend their country. Governments also need money to help their citizens who get into trouble in other countries. Governments also need money to pay for emergency services, like ambulance services, police and firefighting services. They need to buy emergency service equipment, like ambulances, police cars, hoses, ladders and fire trucks. They must also pay emergency service personnel to do their jobs and pay for them to be trained. Governments also need money to run the public transport system and the road network. Trains, buses, ferries and trams have to be bought, and drivers must be trained and paid if the public transport system is going to work properly. Old roads have to be repaired and new roads built if a road network is going to carry all the traffic that wants to use it. So governments need a lot of money to do their job. The way they get money is by taxing their citizens, companies and organisations.
Part 3.
Direct taxes. There are two main types of taxes. These are direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are taxes that are paid directly from a person, company or organisation to a government. The most common type of direct tax is income tax. The more money people earn, the more tax they have to pay. Another type of direct tax is company tax. Company tax is like income tax, but it is a tax on the amount of money a company earns in a year, rather than the amount of money a person earns in a year. Like income tax, the more a company earns, the more tax it has to pay.
Part 4.
Indirect taxes. Indirect taxes are an extra cost that governments put onto a good or service. Without this extra cost, the good or service would be cheaper. Everybody pays the same amount of tax on a good or service, no matter how rich or how poor they are. A goods and services tax is a type of indirect tax. It is also called a sales tax. A goods and services tax or sales tax is an amount of money added to the price of a good or service. This extra amount is paid to the seller along with the rest of the money, but the seller has to pass this extra amount on to the government. For example, a new computer may cost $500 without a tax on it. But if a government has a tax on computers, the buyer has to pay $500 plus the tax. So if the computer costs $550 with the tax, the seller then has to give the extra $50 to the government.
Footnote. In reference to products, wares and merchandise, the plural goods is more common than the singular form, good, which is found in specialized or government documents.
As always, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And before you go, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that tiny bell. And don't forget to check out some of our other videos on the channel. On to the next time.